My lords, if there were a way of returning the marbles to the Parthenon itself, there'd be no debate. It would have happened years ago. What Byron called the wanton and useless defacement would have been undone. Who could resist seeing those magnificent artefacts in their proper place? Their solidity combined with this ethereal feel of their bare, bleached, marmoreal splendor, their realism, the flowing robes and the flared horses' nostrils, nonetheless combining with this idealized beauty. But the argument is about moving them from one museum to another. And it seems to me, therefore, that this debate turns on what is a museum for. Museums, the clue is in the etymology. They're there to channel the muses, to elevate and ennoble the condition of visitors. And so it seems to me the most pertinent questions to ask with the display of any artifacts are: where will they be best looked after? Where will they be most accessible to specialists, scholars, and students? Where will people most appreciate their cultural impact? And where will the greatest number of people get to see them? Now, I think I'm right in saying that the British Museum was the first public institution to use the word British in its title, and yet it never saw its aspiration as being national. It always saw its role as being encyclopedic, as being a collection of curios from every continent. And this is more unusual than you might think. If you go to the museums in Copenhagen or Budapest or Prague, you will find museums that tell the story of a particular nation, a particular people. If you go to the museums in Washington, D.C., you find even more ethnic particularism. You find a Chinese-American museum and an African-American museum and a museum of the American Indian and so on. But the British Museum never saw itself in those terms. Confident, at least in the 18th century, in its foundation, it saw itself as a repository for the greatest works of mankind. Neil MacGregor, who was the director between 2002 and 2015, put it like this: "The museum remains a unique repository for the achievements of human endeavour, and there is no culture, past or present, that is not represented within its walls. It is truly the memory of mankind." So it seems to me the question is, what overrides that claim? And the main argument that one hears, and we've heard it in the debate now, is one of, if you like, a communal cultural claim. We live in a particular area, and therefore we have a right. And it seems to me that that is a notion that is very difficult to reconcile with ownership and contract, even if it were true. I mean, I actually don't think that we are remotely connected to whatever Neanderthal people made the hand axe that Baroness Bennett was talking about. There was an ice age in between and the place was completely depopulated. I have no idea whether the Greeks of today are related to the Greeks of the time of the Parthenon. We're told by Constantine Porphyrogenitus that there was massive demographic displacement in the meantime. But even if they are, even if the Greek Prime Minister could claim personal lineal descent from Phidias, so what? Right? If the noble Baroness's great-grandmother had bought her house from mine, I wouldn't be allowed to turf her out because of some prior claim, because contract and ownership count for something. Now, I happen to agree with what my noble friend Lord Lexden said, or quoted Professor Mary Beard as saying that if you want to play the game of identity politics, 200 years of being debated in this chamber and revered and argued over and sketched and painted in this country also establishes some claim. But I don't think that that's really the relevant criterion. The relevant criterion is one of ownership. And if, as my noble friend Lord Frost says, these are the foundation of Western art, then free contract is surely the foundation of Western civilization.